Surprise Year 4, good morning and welcome to your maths lesson. I'm going to be doing maths today, giving Miss Jones the day off, how lucky. So I'm just going to start sharing my screen. We can begin the lesson. So today we're going to be looking at calculating unit fractions of quantities. Your do now follows on from yesterday's lesson. You have your steps to success down the side here. Now remember, with your wholes, you're going to have to convert them into improper fractions to be able to calculate the sums. Good luck. Pause me now. Okay, welcome back. Here are the answers. So, for example, for the first one, you should have a quarter. We converted the whole, which was 1, into 4 quarters. So I had 4 quarters, take away 3 quarters, equals 1 quarter. So above each of the wholes, you've got what they should have been converted into, and then you have your answers. You don't have to have both down to be correct, you just need to have one or the other. So you might just have 8/5, or you might have written it as 1 whole and 3/5. Okay, so moving on to today's learning, you have the same star words as yesterday, so pause me now if you want to read through and recap on them. Okay, so today we're looking at unit fractions of quantities. Going to read you our problem. There are 24 hours in a day. Poppy spends 1/3 of her day at work. How many hours is she at work? Okay, so just to recap, 1/3 looks like this. So usually in a word problem, you're going to see it written down, but we've got a third that looks like this. There are 24 hours in a day, and I want to find a third of 24. So obviously you guys have seen it represented like this before. That is basically what our word problem comes down to, 1/3 of 24. So to help us, I have my pictorial here. I have 24 dots representing the 24 hours in a day, and I need to put these into groups of 3. Now to do this, I'm going to need to know what 24 divided by 3 is, and as I'm really confident at my 3 times table, I know that that is 8. So I'm going to split my diagram into 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there we have 24 split into thirds. Now, today we're only looking at unit fractions. A unit fraction is always going to have a 1 on the top. So today I just need to take 1/3, and that is 8. So 1/3 of 24 is 8. Okay, moving on to our next example. A class has 32 pupils. 1/4 of them walk to school. How many pupils walk to school? So for this one, I just want to kind of get the right labels onto my bar model before we move on to having a look at some ourselves. So this number here is going to represent the whole. The whole in this word problem is 32. What I'm trying to work out is one of these parts. My bar is split into 4 parts to represent a quarter each, and I'm just trying to work out what one of these quarters would be. So that is what I'm trying to calculate. So you have 4 bar models on this page, A, B, C, and D, and you've got 4 word problems, 1, 2, 3, and 4. You need to correctly match up. So number 1, you need to choose the letter for the bar model it correctly matches up to. So the clue is looking at reading the word problem and finding the key information about how many parts the bar model is going to have for each of the problems. So pause me now, label 1 to 4 down in your book, and complete this activity. Okay, welcome back and good effort everybody. Let's have a look at some answers. So here were your answers. You've got 1A, 2C, 3D, and 4B. Now, as I said, we were able to work this out because bar model A has 5 parts, and here we can see it says 1/5. So 1/5 is going to be 5 parts. Same on number 2, it says we're in 1/6, and our bar model here is split into 6 parts. So have a look at those now, and let's get ready to move on to some more word problems. Okay, so first of all, we have our steps to success down the side here. Let's read the problem together first. Mary is reading a magazine with 60 pages. She has read 1/5. So remember 1/5, if we were representing it with digits, looks like this. How many pages has she read? So Mary's reading a magazine with 60 pages. She has read 1/5. First of all, my step one is underlining the key information. So first question is, what is the whole? Well, the whole here is 60. The magazine has 60 pages. And how many equal parts of this? So we're just looking at now, we're trying to find 1/5 of 60. So I will also underline that as a key part of information. I'm trying to find my parts. I'm trying to find my pages. Okay, so I've underlined my key information. My next stage is to draw the bar model. Now here is one that we prepared earlier for you. So you guys don't need to do that. Well, I don't need to do that. You guys are going to have to draw your own bar models in a bit. The next thing I'm going to need to do is divide the whole by the number of parts. Now, to be able to do that, I'm going to need to work out what each of these fifths represents. So how many pages each fifth represents. So I've got 60 as my whole, and I'm trying to find a fifth of 60. So there's a couple of ways I might go about this. I've been doing maths for quite a long time, so I know that 60 divided by 5 is 12. But obviously when we're doing division, we can also rearrange it into a multiplication sum. So 60 divided by 5 is the same as asking myself 5 times something equals 60. And I know that by now we're all really good at our 5 times table. So if you can't just do that in your head, you can switch the sum around and make it a multiplication sum. And then you know that 5 times 12 equals 60. So now to label my diagram, I'm going to put on the whole. Try and do it as neatly as I can. So the whole is 60. And I now know that each of my parts is 12. So each fifth is 12. Now today, because we're looking at unit fractions, I only need to find 1/5 of 60. So I'm just looking for one of my parts. So 1/5 of 60 is 12. To finish my answer though, it says how many pages has she read? So my answer isn't just 12, it is 12 pages. It's very hard to write with this mouse. I'm sure you guys can all do a nicer job than me in your maths books. 12 pages. Okay, let's move on to another example. Okay, first of all, I'm just going to read the question. So, a film lasts for 1 hour and 30 minutes. Ross arrived late and missed 1/9 of the film. How many minutes of the film did he miss? Step 1, underline the key information. A film lasts 1 hour and 30 minutes. Oh, okay, so the question's asking me how many minutes of the film did he miss? When actually at the moment, I have 1 hour and 30 minutes. So to make it simpler for myself, I'm going to need to convert 1 hour and 30 minutes into just minutes. So I know that 1 hour has 60 minutes in it. So I simply need to do 60, add 30, which will give me 90. So 90 is a key bit of information. That's how many minutes the film lasts. Ross arrived late and missed 1/9 of the film. So 1/9 is what I'm trying to find. So again, if we want to write 1/9 in digits to represent it, that's fine. How many minutes of the film did he miss? Okay, so I've underlined my key information. This time when I draw my bar model, I'm going to be splitting it into ninths because that is what I am trying to find out from 90. So 90 is my whole. I can add that onto my bar model. And now I need to find 1/9 of 90. So using my times tables knowledge again, I know that 90 divided by 9 is equal to 10. And therefore, if I'd use this method as well, 9 times 10 equals 90. So I'm now going to label. I've divided my whole by my number of, I just need to add my parts onto my bar model. So 10 is my parts. Now, instead of writing them all out this time, I don't really need to do that today because we're just looking at unit fractions, which means I'm always just going to be finding, the numerator is always going to be 1, so I'm only going to be finding one part. So my answer to this question is going to be 10. So how many minutes of the film did he miss? He missed 10 minutes. That's my answer. My pen's not very good. I'm just going to write 10, but you guys would obviously write 10 minutes. So there's 3 questions here for you now to complete. I would love it if you could complete them all, but they do get progressively harder. So kind of see it as band 1, 2, and 3. But it'd be great if you could have a go at them all. So remember to draw up bar models if you need to use the help. That's absolutely fine. We would love to see you using bar models to do this. And remember, when you're writing your answer, you need the correct unit. So for example, question number 2, I can see a pound sign. So we're going to be needing to use the correct unit as well. Okay, so pause me now. Number down 1 to 3. This is your use section. So you can do a title of use if you want and have a go at these. Okay, welcome back. Let's have a look at the answers. So question number 1 was 9 bricks. Jenny was finding 1/8 of 72. 72 divided by 8 is 9. Question 2. The school was finding 1/8 of 480. 480 divided by 8 is 60. Hopefully you would have been able to get that because you know your multiplication facts. So you would have recognised that 48 divided by 8 is 6. And then we know to make it 10 times bigger, we just need to pop that 0 back on the end. In question number 3, there are a couple of ways you could have gone about this. You could have converted the 4 hours to minutes, in which case your answer would be 64 minutes. But also you could have just decided maybe to divide the hours by 4 and then the minutes by 4. So well done, everybody. Let's move on to look at our apply section now. Okay. Similar, we're looking at very similar things, but just with a slightly different concept now, is that we're looking for, we know what the part is, we're looking for the whole this time. So our first step is to draw the bar model with the same number of equal parts as the denominator. So the denominator here is 5. We're looking at fifths. So my bar model has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts. So I'm going to label now each part of my bar model with the answer, because we've already been told that one part is equal to 6. So I need to write out 6 on each of my parts on my bar model. Okay, so to work out my whole, I'm obviously going to need to add all the parts of the bar together. So 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6. Now, that's a bit confusing and it might take a long time. So instead, I'm going to use my multiplication facts. I know that there's 5. It's been split into 5, my bar, and one part is 6. I can do 5 times 6, which will give me an answer of 30. So my whole was 30 when all of my parts are added together. Now, if I wanted to, I could double check that using what we've just been doing. So instead, I could pretend I don't have my answer and I could go back and I could work out as we've just been doing in the previous chunk of the lesson. But I'm pretty confident that that's the correct answer. Okay, 1/4 of 15. So this time my bar model is going to be split into, yep, well done. It's going to be split into 4 parts. Now, each of my parts this time is equal to 15. So I could label each of my parts of the bar and add them up, or do 4 times 15. Or you might just be able to do that in your head, 4 times 15, or do the addition in your head. 4 times 15 is 60. So quarter of 60 equals 15. If you're familiar with time, you should be able to know that because a quarter of an hour is 15 minutes. So this time my whole, is 60. Okay, so you have some apply questions to do now. Following the steps to success down the side of the board. Pause me now and have a go at these questions. Okay, welcome back. Well done for trying them all. Let's have a look at the answers. So for number 1, you were looking for a third of something equals 20. So to work that out, we needed to do 20 times 3, which gives me 60. Again, you might have recognised that 2 times 3 is 6 and added a 0 on the end. And let's go down to this one at the bottom one at the end, which was a bit more challenging. You need to find 1/12 of 11. So again, 12 times 11, using your 11 times table or 12 times table knowledge, was 132. So well done for giving those a go. Give yourself a mark. And let's move on to the reasoning section. Okay, I'm going to just read you the problem this time, so listening carefully. Mia completes the following calculation. If a half is 12, then the whole is 6. What mistake has she made? Explain and use a bar model to prove your answer. So I don't just want to know that she's wrong or that she has made a mistake. You really need to explain why she's wrong. What has Mia done that she shouldn't have done? And what should she do instead? What should the answer be? You've got a couple of sentence starters here to help you to set that out. So pause me now and have a go at that question. Okay, welcome back. So you should have recognised that Mia made the mistake of dividing 12 by 2 to get 6, rather than multiplying 12 by 2. So the answer should have been 24. So your reasoning would have been that Mia has accidentally divided 12 by the denominator to get 6 as the whole, rather than multiplying 12 by the denominator to get the whole. I think we've got the answers on the next slide, yeah. So Mia found half of 12. However, 12 was the part, not the whole. She should have multiplied by 2. So the whole is 24. So as you can see on the bar chart down here, bar model, sorry, that she has 2 parts and they're equal to 12. Okay, got another reasoning question. Ellie is calculating a whole number from a fraction. I know 1/5 of the number is 10. To find the whole, I can calculate 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10. Is she correct? Explain and use a bar model to prove your answer. So pause me now, read the question again and have a go at this reasoning. Okay, welcome back. So you've probably worked out that yes, Ellie was correct. But she could have done this in a much simpler way. So instead of doing 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10, she's using her 5 and her 10 times tables. So we know that 5 times 10 is 50. So she should have probably done it to find the whole. I can calculate 10 times 5. So that would have been a much more efficient way to work out the answer. But yes, she is correct. So we'd love to see that you've used your bar model on Seesaw to prove that she is correct on this one. It should look something like this, 5 parts, each of them equal to 10. Okay, bit of a challenge one now on the reasoning. Alfie and Sally count their birthday presents. 1/5 of Alfie's pile is 3 presents and 1/3 of Sally's pile is 4 presents. Who has the most presents and how many more do they have? So there's 2 parts to this question. So again, pause me now and have a go at this challenge. Okay, welcome back. Let's check the answers for this one. So Alfie had 15 presents. So 1/5 of his pile was 3 presents. So we needed to do 3 times 5 to get to 15. And Sally's pile is 4 presents. We need to do 4 times 3 to get to 12. So it was Alfie who had more presents. and he had 3 more than Sally, because 15 take away 12 is 3. So well done for that one, if you managed to work that out. And that concludes the maths lesson today. So I hope you've did okay. Miss Jones and I and Mr. Parker and Miss Boots are very excited to see your work on Seesaw. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of your lessons today. Goodbye.